Hey everybody, today we're going to be doing something kind of simple. We're going to be taking an image, adding some geometry to it, and then using Blender shape keys to kind of sculpt animation out of it. We're going to do it in two parts. The first part, we're just going to take just a flat image and then use that to make some animation. And then we'll go on and we'll just add a little bit more depth to the character. And when it comes to the depth part, you can go as little or as much as you want. We're just going to just do just enough to give it just a little bit of depth. But anyways, we're gonna get this thing started. First of all, the image we used, and you're not gonna see this because I don't have it, so it's gonna pull up and show you the screens on it. But under File Import, there's a Import Images Plane. Under Edit and Preferences, and the add-ons, you can enable that, and I believe it comes with Blender automatically. I don't remember ever having to download that plugin. If it isn't, I just Google it. You'll be able to find the import images planes pretty easily. The first thing we're going to do is, for some reason, it just always has this huge amount of specular and roughness to it that makes it kind of tough to see. I always just turn all these down. We can always turn those up later if we want. Next thing we want to do is we want to go to modeling, right click on it, subdivide, and then we're going to go down. If you go down to the bottom and where it says subdivide, you can add 100 cuts is what I usually do. Then we're going to go back into layout, right click on it, hit shade smooth. Another thing I'm going to do that I feel like makes it look a little bit better is if we go down to color management and switch it to standard. I think just looks a little bit better. And we're not gonna go into the lighting or anything like that, so it doesn't really matter where we have the lights. We're just gonna keep it on the material viewport shading or whatever. So yeah, let's get into this. So the first thing we're going to do on this is we are going to go into sculpt mode. We're going to go into data, and then we're going to go into shape keys, and we're just going to hit, and we'll keep it as just saying basis here. So that's just going to be the regular, just her regular pose. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to hit plus on the under the shape keys, and we'll just call this breathe. I'll just call breathing. We're going to kick that up to 100. Okay, and so I did a little research on just the best ways of doing like a breathing animation, and it seems like what you really want to do, and I use the elastic deform because I feel like it keeps things from getting too deformed. If you use the grab, I feel like the face ends up getting kind of distorted, whereas with the elastic it seems like it keeps things a little bit more consistent. So we're gonna take the shoulders, we're gonna pull the shoulders up, we're going to pull the chest up, we're gonna lower the radius so we can kind of pull out the stomach. Let's see. We want to bring the face up just a little bit, maybe like that. And then we've got, and this is going to be exaggerated. There's no doubt about it. Let's see. Let's maybe pull the shoulder out just slightly. And then I usually go down here, and under minimum range, I usually put like a -0.2. So that we can also kind of give a little bit of bounce to the animation as it comes back to the 0. And so just to kind of get a look at that, let's hit the record button here. Let's give this a 0 value to start with. I found that on the breathing, you want to go about 5 seconds. What are we at? We're at 24 frames per second. So let's just go 120 frames. And then what we'll do is we'll have her breathe in quicker. And then we'll have her breathe out a little bit longer. So we'll go to the -0.2, and then we'll give just that little bounce to get back into the regular pose. Okay, so one thing I want to do here, I think maybe not even a bounce. I think one thing is when you're standing there, you're never 100% still. So I think maybe I was thinking about having, give it like a couple seconds without her breathing at all to where she's just in a regular pose, but I don't think that's quite the right way to do it. Let's see how this looks. Okay, so maybe let's do this. Let's then go like a 0.1. That way there's just a constant little bit of a movement so it doesn't look too fake. So I think that looks pretty good. So there we have just a simple animation. We can also, let's go in here. Let's put smile. Let's see, let's turn off this. We're going to then get in to her face a little bit closer. Jack this up to 1. And then I'm going to still stay, you know what, we'll go elastic first, and then we may switch to, you know what, let's try grab. See how that looks. And let's put this at -1 as the minimum so we can kind of see if maybe we can get a frown out of it. Yeah, that's not bad. We got, basically we can get 2 different expressions out of this. I'm thinking that maybe, yeah, I think that's not too bad. But also with a smile, there's a couple ways we can do this. We can handle the eyebrows by themselves, or we can have that be its own blend shape, or if we just want to just have one blend shape for smile, we can also do the eyebrows here. But another thing too is when you smile, it's going to make some changes to a little bit more of your face. So this really isn't, hold on a second, let's take our elastic. They teach you that you could tell when somebody's smiling for real because it's the eyes. When people a fake smile, you just see it just in their mouth. So I think that's not bad. But let's also, we're just gonna do the eyebrows. Okay, so we got a nice little smile there. Where she's angry, if you see their eyebrows, well, actually that's looking more like an angry, maybe kind of a sad / angry right there. So that's kind of nice. So that's kind of cool there. Let's let's take all of these. Let's copy, paste. Let's go to the 240 here, and then let's somewhere right here, let's go with, let's give her some, oops, we want to go 0 there. Let's let her smile pretty quickly, keep that smile for a little while, and then maybe 0. Let's see how that looks. Oops. So we got that little bit of animation there. Another thing we could do is we can go, let's get rid of this. Let's go to eyes. Eyes become a little bit more complicated sometimes, I'd say. And in the eyes, I found that you definitely want to use the grab tool, not the elastic. So we want to get in there a little bit farther. There's only so much you could do with these. So you want to be careful to not change the shape too much. And really, so let's maybe just do some slight. I think we want to just have just the slight movement just for the sake of just having the not look too stagnant. Oh. Actually, let's see how it looks when we go into the negative numbers. Yeah, that's not too bad. Let's put this back at 0. So we got just that little bit of eye movement there. Let's pull back so you can kind of see the whole thing. And this isn't going to be perfect. Like, there's some things we can do. Like, if we wanted to add bones to it, we can do some actual legitimate animations. The way I'm doing this, you're going to need a new image for each different type of pose. Maybe if she's, standing more straight in a T pose ish, you're going to have to use a different image for that. But there's quite a few things we could do with just this image right here that can at least add some life to your characters, whether it's a visual novel, video game, just image or whatever. There's a lot of little things you can do here. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some depth. And so what we're going to do is we're going to, let's turn, okay, we got the, the record is off. And then to really get this, we're going to want to turn so we can kind of see a little bit. And this is something that I'm not very good at yet. And really, honestly, this is more of a kind of showing you some things you can do. And if in the comments, if you have some advice on how I can get better at this part of it, that'd be awesome. I've had success with one where, one thing I test on this is I'll take the mesh and put it into VR. And then I'll look around on it, and that's where you can really tell when you've got the depth where you want it, because then it'll look correct. Whereas it's not going to look very good if, if the nose is too pointy or, something just doesn't look right. You're going to really be able to tell that in VR. So I've had one out of probably the dozens of these I've done. I've only had one that came out where I really liked it, but I'll still kind of show you some things we could do here. So we're going to go back to basics. We're going to use inflate. We'll kind of pull out head. And where this really kind of helps is if we want to do a blink animation. So now let's see here. Let's see if that's going to really... So I'm trying to remember, is that going to... Yeah, because any of those animations are going to be relative to the basis. So it should still allow for those animations to work, even though I'm adding some depth to it. So kind of pull here. So now the cool thing is, let's we'll go bring the radius down. We'll go to the eyes. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit control and we'll kind of set the eyes back a little bit. And then we'll strength a little bit, and we'll kind of inflate the upper eyes. And what that's going to do is if we decide what we want to, if we want to close the eyes, it's going to make it a lot easier, because then we can just grab the upper eyelid and pull it down, and it just makes things just a little bit better. Next thing we're going to do is the nose does work better if you have a more straight on image. This still does work pretty decent. We'll just kind of pull the nose out just a little bit. We're not looking for perfection here. But the cool thing is, and then we're going to have to take and let's use the control on that to be able to bring it back. Oh, you know what? And that's where, okay, so we're going to want to, this is where you can start getting, being able to turn the head a little bit and be able to get some different angles if you do this right. We're going to use the grab, kind of pull out. The more we do this, the more we're going to need to add some more geometry to it, so probably subdivide. And the other thing too is as you're doing this, there's only so much you're not going to be able to, like for instance, if you make one angle look really good, the other angle probably isn't going to as much. Let's see, let's maybe pull this out. So we're on the grab tool. Let's pull this nostril out a little bit. Maybe pull this back so that we got just a little bit of, oh, not perfect, but I kind of like that. Let's maybe, maybe we want to use the elastic here. So we get the nose to kind of, these ones kind of do seem like they work a little bit better when you have a more straight on image. But still, we've got a little bit of geometry there. The lips, we'll take those and we'll inflate those out a little bit. Maybe even just use the elastic so we can pull them out. Pull out the lips just a little bit. Let's. Okay, because we're still keeping. I think when you're doing the shape keys, it probably would be better to wait until you did this part of it as far as adding some depth to it. But still not too bad. Let's maybe take and instead of inflating the chin and stuff like that, let's maybe deflate the neck a little bit. So control. So we got just a little bit, and we'll still inflate the chin just slightly. Once again, the more you work on this, the more care you give it, the better results you're going to get. We'll take, maybe inflate that little bit of hair here, here, and here out a bit. Inflate down, but then maybe not once we get down here. Maybe deflate. It's back here a little bit. So we got a little bit there. And then, of course, this is where it really depends on how much you really want to do with this. But if we're looking for some realism, take and inflate the chest, shoulder, but then a little bit less as you go down. You also want to use elastic to pull up, pull out just a little bit. Let's see how that's working with the. And then let's see. Maybe grab. If we're going to do that, let's see. We'll pull out. But then we're going to want to maybe lower the brush a little bit and then tuck up just a little bit. Once again, this isn't about being perfect right now. This is just kind of a, maybe a little bit of a, inspire you to try something different. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna try to get any more perfect than that. Definitely, the geometry on that isn't very good at all. But let's do this. Let's add a modifier. We'll do the subdivision surfaces. That should make things just a yeah. If I were doing this to use this as an actual character, I'd put a lot more effort into smoothing things out and making it not look so blocky. But right now, once again, this is just more of a, let's see if we can try something different. Oops. Ooh, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's undo. We want to go to inflate, maybe just inflate this side just a little bit more than the other side. Oops. We got this utility belt that will kind of pull out, especially on this side. Actually, let's we want to pull out this entire side a little bit, don't we? Compared to, maybe we'll take and we'll hit control, pull that part back a little bit, pull back this part of the belt over here. Then we'll also take, have these parts stick out a little bit. Her hand, especially right here, needs to come out since that's on top of that. Not bad, not bad. Of course, the more angles you look at it, the better you're going to be able to kind of tell what's really going on with this. So you're looking up, looking down. Yeah, I think when I did this image originally, I probably should have gotten a little bit better angle on the face. Even if I'm going to have the body turn, I probably should have had her head turn just a little bit closer to us. But let's do real quick. Let's do a blink. When we go into this, what we can do is we could take, and with blink, from what I've found, you definitely want to use grab, and you want to start kind of up a little bit higher. So you pull down the entire thing there, and then you want to get a little bit of a more exact brush. Now, another thing too is with the images, I probably don't want this. You probably don't want the hair in the face quite like that, like as far down into the eyes, because obviously there's nothing really we can do about it. We have to pull that hair down if we're going to do this. Let's see. Oops, my bad. Let's maybe inflate just this eyebrow just a little bit more. That should allow for us to grab and pull that down a little bit better. Could have probably also maybe pushed the eye back a little bit. We didn't need to necessarily do that for the basic, the main pose, but I think, see, and we got, so that's just an angle there. Let's see. Oh, I don't know how much we'll be able to do there. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. And once, you know, the blink, there's a difference between doing a sculpt for a eyes closed versus blink. The blink doesn't have to be as exact. But let's do this. Let's go, boom. Let's put this at 0, and then we could probably, within this time frame, we could probably just have her blink once. So maybe go a 0 there again. All right. Just a couple frames. 1, 0. So again, with all this, the more time you want to put into it, the better results you're going to get. This is what we got so far. Got her breathing. Got a quick blink. I think that blink needs to be just a little bit quicker. So let's go down here and then we can pull up all the different keys so we can find just the blink by itself. Oops. Okay, so let's make that blink much quicker. Let's try this again. Now, you know what? That's probably a little bit too long for blink. So let's copy paste and maybe put another one right here. Let's see here. I think that looks pretty good for what I was trying to accomplish here. I'm happy with that. If I was going to take this character and use her for something, I would put a lot more time and effort into it. But I just wanted to make this kind of a shorter tutorial. Another cool thing you could do if you want to do any kind of lip syncing, and it's really cool with you can make the blend shapes and then go into like Unity or something that has a lip sync asset. And if you can create different mouse shapes, you can actually take this character, add audio like a voice recording, and then have her actually talk. And I think I have a video out there where I showed an example of that. But if you do that, then you want a picture with the mouth slightly open, and then you'll of course want to inflate the lips a little bit more so you can get different shapes. And what I've noticed is you don't even need like every single visimi, you know, every single mouse shape. You can take and maybe have one that's like an O shape, one where the mouth is just kind of more narrow and then up, you know, one where the mouth is spread out, one where the lips are more together. And maybe even with those four, I'll probably do some more experimentation with it. With those four, you could probably take a combination of those four and pretty much make every single letter visimi out of it, and just be able to bring those into Unity and be able to lip sync this character and make this character talk. Maybe not this one because the mouth isn't open, but kind of give you an example of things you can do. You can also, if you have two different characters, you can have two different characters, and let's say there's a her and then a guy, and if they're really close together, you can then, you know, put a little bit of, you can take the in between and really deflate that, put creases in it, and then you can make the two interact subtly. So if you wanted to have some kind of interaction, like let's say she was in a fighting stance and there was some dude and she wanted to have her punch him, you can make those things happen pretty good. And then lastly, before I end this video, if we really wanted to do some really cool stuff, we could take and render the hair separately and have that on its own mesh. We could have the, you know, take the character in nude and then just have the clothing be an overlay and have that be its own mesh. And you could do kind of some really cool things with that. We could probably, I haven't really experimented with this, but we could definitely do the eyes as a separate mesh. There's quite a few things we could do to make this into a much more animated character. And then of course we could do a T-pose with this character, and then be able to use bones to really make it a much more of an animated character. I haven't had the best luck using the automatic weights in Blender doing that with this, and I don't have much experience at all with doing my own weight painting. So it's something I'm just not, maybe someday down the line, something I'll put more effort into. But for right now, this is kind of my preferred method of animation, because AI animation just isn't there yet. You know, if you take this character and if we were to take and try to do an animation with multiple frames, there's going to be little tiny differences that are going to be really easy to see, you know, just little skin details in here. There's this little mole right here, from frame to frame. That's probably going to be in a different spot. which is going to make it kind of flicker on the animation and not look very good. You're going to have some differences in where the glare is on this. Of course, we could try to make it so that the glare isn't there, which would probably make it just a little bit better. But it's still at the same time, you're going to have to deal with those issues. I have noticed, just kind of off topic real quick, if you are trying to make an animation in like Stable Diffusion or any of those and make them more consistent, in negative prompts, put things like moles and freckles. And to me, that makes things a lot better. Of course, you're going to lose some detail, but that's where it loses the immersion for me, is when you have a mole or a freckle from frame to frame just constantly moving around on a person's face, and or body period. And that's where it just gets, it just doesn't work very well with AI animation right now. So for me to be able to take this and be able to do subtle animations, for me at least, is probably the best solution until things just get better, I guess I would say. But anyways, that's all I have for today. Let me know in the comments down below if there's some advice you have. If you are an expert in Blender or whatever, and you watch this and you're like, hey, you know what, this guy's a dumbass, this is the way you really should have done it. I want to know those things, because this is just a workflow that I just started doing a couple weeks ago without really any and any experience with Blender sculpting. I just literally watched a few videos or whatever, and I'm like, hey, I wonder if I could do that with a mesh of just an image. And then I just started kind of trying to add depth to it, and just seeing what I could do. And I'm happy with the results I have, but I'm still, this is a workflow I want to do in the future, and I want to use to be able to make games and stuff like that. However, I've got a long ways to go before I make it to where I'm happy with it and literally can put a VR headset on, look at the image, and then be able to see the depth in it and make it look like it's a, a person or an object in front of me. I still have a long ways to go on that. But anyways, that's all I got for today. Everybody have a wonderful day, afternoon, night, or whenever you're watching this.